Hi, everybody. This is our hot topic on online K through 12 education, done by Devon and myself, Alexander Perez, for Education 590. So here we go. What is online education? I know when we first think about it, we immediately immediately think homeschooling, and whenever we hear about a student being homeschooled, you think about um, how awesome it would be just to be at home, learning, not having to drive to school every day, worry about being late, getting dressed, and the whole list. The list goes on because we know how hectic the mornings can be, and especially as an educator now, you totally see the kids going through it too. So especially the kids K through eighth, and then of course high school it gets worse as you get older, right? So here we go. K through 12 online learning is a type of schooling for elementary and secondary students to attend and practice their learning online. There are many different types of online education, which was a total surprise to me. I probably would have never thought of these, but here we go. Tuition free online public school, tuition based private school, kind of like traditional school where there's public, which is free, and then you have private school where you pay tuition. So same thing, just online. And then we have virtual schools. Students attend a regular school but take supplemental classes online. And this is according to K-12 and online public school, which gave us great information. How online education works. A great question that I know all of us are wondering, and it's really good information to have to know, especially if kids are asking you questions. And I know we ask ourselves these questions still today. So how it works. All the curriculum is chosen for you. Similar to traditional school, you get your schedule. Second bullet, a teacher is assigned to your child. Traditional school, you get your teacher. You meet your teachers all throughout the day on your first day of school. So very similar. All the material is sent to you. Traditional school, you go to the library, pick up your books. I'm sure it works a little different for everybody, but you get the idea. And then because it's funded through the public school system, it's free. And then last bullet, at the end of each year, there is a standardized test to graduate your child to the next grade. I know that is sounds very familiar too. The kids take a standardized test, kind of see where they are, kind of like a placement test in traditional school, and they get uh, kind of categorized, in color. I know the whole color thing for the reading levels and so on. So you know what their learning level is for the following year, and if they're caught up or if they're behind and what they need to focus on more. And so that's kind of where that relates for the online versus traditional. And this is according to K-12, an online public school. Again, online education standards covered. I know this is a worry, just kind of online education. Are they learning everything they need to? Is everything being covered like it would be in public school if you were, present in class? So here's a statement from K12.com. The K-12 team has developed a comprehensive program that is designed to exceed national and state education standards. Our goal is to provide children with an education that is comparable or superior to that provided by the nation's best public and private schools, regardless of demographic constraints. And after doing some research on K-12 online education, all the schools and programs can use whichever standards they chose since they are not necessarily funded by the state or nation. What are the pros and cons of online education? I know this is important for families that are, making this huge decision for their student at home, especially if they're, K through fifth or sixth through eighth, which is the tough kind of stage between elementary and getting to high school, where you kind of have to grow up a lot because before you leave high school, you're going to be an adult. So you're transitioning into a big stage of life. So here's the pros and here's the cons, kind of, weighing your options. So for pros, we have flexible scheduling, faster completion, study anytime, log in from anywhere, no commute, fewer social pressures, and comfort. For cons, we have no face to face interaction, networking challenges, requires self direction, feedback limited, and must have self motivation. So for the pros, I know all of us can even, think in present time, flexible scheduling is super nice. It might be a little bit of a constraint for the younger kids because they kind of need that structure at a young age to where they can finally grow into having the flexibility and knowing how to handle that. So that's where we kind of know, how to prioritize our time. And then we have faster completion. You can go at your own pace. You can study anytime. Studying can be hard to schedule sometimes in your everyday life. So, not being at school can make that harder. Log in from anywhere, that's the nicest thing ever. No commute. I know we see the kids struggling to get to school on time every day. I know we went through it. It gets kind of hectic. So the no commute thing, that's a pro. Fewer social pressures, especially in today's world, students have a lot of trouble collaborating. They have something to fight over, or disagreements, little things. So that's something that's more common with the younger ages, but definitely in high school ages too. And then comfort. You're in the comfort of your own home. You have the comfort of your own scheduling and all that good stuff. So that's a big one, comfort. And then cons, no face-to-face interaction. I know me growing up, I don't know if I would have made it all online, especially about halfway through my academic career. Around eighth grade is when all the technology started rolling in, and I'm kind of thankful I made it, through high school to where it finally kicked in the whole Google Classroom, which is super nice. But I'm glad I learned the old school way with your book open, your notebook, and you writing everything down, writing your notes. But I totally love the convenience of technology, just not when you have networking challenges, which is the next bullet. And it requires self direction. Feedback is limited compared to when you would be in class physically. And you must have self motivation. Self motivation can be tough at a young age, but can be easier when you're in high school and even easier when you know, graduate and make it to college. So that's something that has to be learned throughout school. And it might not progress if you're online. So that's just something to think about. Reasons to attend an online school, greater flexibility, which we've talked about, changing from local school. You're in a safe learning environment. I know that's a big worry for a lot of people, especially in today's society. You kind of worry about different things you see on the news. It can be scary. Involvement in child's education, health concerns, bullying in previous school, and time to pursue arts or sports. Excuse me. Um, these are reasons that might not always come to mind. I know just reading through these, I was like, oh, I didn't think about that. Or you kind of forget some of them and you're like, oh, that is totally, you know, something that would lead a kid to go into online school. And it's totally convenient. And I'm super thankful that they have this option because they might really need it and it's there. So that's a great resource to have. And I'm super thankful for technology because it, gives them that tool to have. Is there a good success rate? I know just thinking about online school, you're like, is there a good success rate? Is it recommended? Should kids even do it? Are they going to be able to graduate? So little things. In an analysis study done by Stanford University Center for Research on Educational Outcomes in the 2016-17 school year, half of all virtual charter high schools had graduation rates below 50%. 37% of schools had graduation rates at or above 50%. The remaining percent was hidden due to student confidentiality. All great statistics to think about. Who should enroll in online education? Students with health issues, military families, Students who have moved, plan to move, so they do not miss out on any education. Child actors, actresses, students with physical disabilities in rural communities, emancipated students. I know some of these might sound like, oh, I didn't think of that. But when you think of military families, students with health issues, disabilities, and then the child actors one, that's kind of a given. You're like, how do they make it with school? But thank thankfully there's online education to keep them on track. And then how do students transfer from traditional to online? So transferring from one accreditation school to another accreditation is the same for students moving from one brick and mortar school to another. Students moving from a brick and mortar school to an online education program need to provide the same required materials if they are moving to a different school. So it's kind of like the same process if you were moving from a traditional to another traditional. You need your immunization records. You need your birth certificate, your transcripts. So all those sound familiar even if you're not online. And it's just how it goes, right? So, and then how do students that are learning online socialize? Online education does not offer socialization such as recess, but there are still opportunities for students to interact with other students. I I know we all thought about this. They don't get the chance to collaborate with others, work together, build presentations together, uh, kind of make those memories. And then we have the next bullet: online schools and programs and educators may offer things such as field trips, immersive learning sessions, leadership options, and more. But those memories that you make in elementary school, just I feel like they miss out on because they're online. But no, we don't know the severity of the case that they might have that requires them to be online. But just thinking overall, it's kind of sad to think about that they don't have those memories. But learning is a universal thing, and no matter how you're obtaining your education, it's still such a blessing. And I'm really grateful that online education exists, in public schools, and that teachers exist, because I know how tough the job can be day in and day out. And I'm super thankful for everyone watching this, because I know you have your tough days, you have your great days, the days where the students, just make your day. They tell you something nice and it just hits you, you know, and something you don't forget. It's something you go home and tell your loved ones about. And it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they said that. It made me feel really good, like I'm doing something right. Those little things that the kids don't realize that they say, they make an impact on us. We're not always the one making the impact. So, you know, that teacher student relationship, that's another big one. That, socialization concept. So I'm glad we have this slide too to cover, because it's a big one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. We enjoyed building it for you, and I really appreciate education and those that, you know, put all their effort into teaching. So thank you, and thanks for listening to our um, presentation and our video and our slides. And that's it.